Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have made it. We have made it 50 episodes without being shut down. No FBI agents, no ADL, not that we know of anyways. They could still be after us. But we're here. 50th episode of Base Boys Story Hour. We have achieved a milestone. It's not that big, but it's big for us.
Journey of 1,000 miles starts with a few simple steps. Base Boys Media has taken off. We've hit I think this is a number to be proud of. Most people give up after a couple. They try, and they fail, and they go like, not for us. We have kept on going. We've made it 50. We're going to go 50 more. We're going to get to 100 at least. And we are ready to see, America be awoken. The masses realized what the truth is and start seeing America become great.
Absolutely. Alex Jones started in the 90s. He's an icon now. People thought he was crazy then, but the dude literally bought a bunch of satellite equipment, broadcast equipment, and nowadays you literally just buy a laptop and a couple microphones and plug in. You can do everything from your phone. But what he did and now what he's turned it into, that's essentially what we're trying to do is just grow a conservative, Christian-based, America-loving media platform, and that's what we want to do. So we've been a little bit inconsistent, but we're here and we're ready to talk about what's going on. So
there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, but at the same time, I go back and forth between saying like, what is going on? We're on the cusp of so many things, and I'm excited to talk about it.
It is. I have a solution actually.
What is your solution?
It's a great solution. We all just get in a circle, big circle, grab a couple bagels. No, I'm just kidding. We get in a big circle. And we literally just start holding hands and sing Kumbaya.
Kumbaya. I thought that was going somewhere completely different.
I did too. That was for a different show.
The after hours show.
Well, let's get into the show today, man. Glad to have you guys back, and let's go. Well, we've made it this far. It feels great. I want to get right into it today, man. So we have a new Speaker of the House after the whole Kevin McCarthy debacle. The whole 9 months of having him in there. Not really doing much for a pro-America movement. What do you think of Mike Johnson now? We've got this guy hidden here, coming out of nowhere, out of Louisiana. Nobody really knew who he was.
I have never heard about him in the news. I know that I am happy that McCarthy's gone. He betrayed the American people, and I was actually kind of hoping that we're going to go a couple more months without a Speaker of the House. I know it's kind of a wild take, but we've been told in January that we needed to vote for McCarthy because we can't exist without a Speaker of the House. We need a Speaker of the House. Like, even though we've got a slim majority, we need a Speaker of the House who's going to really help us to make decisions. What has McCarthy given us? Nothing. All he's given us is compromises. All he's given us, sorry, I used past tense. All he gave us was compromises. All he gave us was stabbing us in the back. And so I am so ready for a new person, but I also am disappointed that we got a new person right off the bat because I was happy with the government not doing anything, not sending any checks, Congress being shut down, and not being able to make a decision on anything because they can't vote. So in some ways, it's a good thing. I hope he's going to be doing better. I've seen some of his track record. It doesn't just look better. It is better than McCarthy because McCarthy is an establishment hack who's been in Washington, D.C. for way too long and has been selling out America for way too long. So I am happy that we got someone that I think is more conservative, but I'm not going to hold my breath for him to be America first, conservative, a person who puts the American interest first. I still see money going to foreign countries. He may, like, what are some of his stances? Because I'm still kind of reading up on it, trying to get as, because like I said, like you said, came out of left field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, totally. Donald Trump came out of left field. That didn't turn out too bad, but no, I totally get what you're saying. It's hard to trust anybody in D.C. Any D.C. politics, whether you're Speaker of the House, even whether you're the president. So yeah, time will only tell. I think for us to actually establish opinion and really look into him. I do know this. Entered Congress in 2016. He's a pretty relatively new lawmaker. I think he's probably the first person this young or this new into Congress to become Speaker of the House. So that's pretty great. But he did serve as a former defense team for President Donald Trump. He is, opposed funding for Ukraine. But I think he did vote on Ukraine funding, so money was sent somehow, some way. Who really knows? I think only time will tell. But I just don't put faith in the corrupt D.C. politics when you have all the insider trading, all the lobbying, all that. Do you ever really trust what's going on? Are they really going to fix this nation? Are they going to fix the country? I want to put my faith in politics and hope for politics to be the best, but our border is wide open. We're just shelling out billions of dollars, and we've got our politicians so concerned about getting the next Speaker of the House in probably a really unorganized way. So, I don't really know if I've got faith in the system.
I think it's kind of hard to have faith in the system after the system just keeps on not just messing up, but purposely going after you. The system is currently set up to attack the American people. And so having faith in the system is stupid. What's that old saying? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. We keep on voting for people over and over again who not just stab us in the back, but stab us in the back and lie to us saying that they're our friend. I hope that Mike Johnson, because I pulled up a couple different articles about Mike Johnson, and it seems that the left is furious because he led Congress to try to overturn the 2020 election, which I like that. There's other things that says he's a religious conservative who wants to support parental rights as well as anti-abortion, which I like that. There are some other things that I see about him that I am optimistic about, but McCarthy made promises as well. McCarthy told us that we were going to first be getting the January 6th 40,000 hours of footage. What did we get? We got a couple clips sent to Tucker Carlson. That's it. What was it? 8 minutes of video footage that Tucker Carlson showed the American people. 8 minutes. I was promised 40,000. What else did he promise? Oh, no new funding to Ukraine. And then he made backroom deals with the Democrats to keep things going. What else did he stab us in the back? The backroom deals. He promised that he wouldn't make any of those. That was the biggest thing. That's why Gates. That's why Gates went after him, because he broke his promise. And I hope that we can count on this guy to be better, but I'm not holding my breath because definition of insanity again. Trusting a politician is like trusting a snake. Do you remember that? There's this old proverb I remember hearing about politicians. Do you ever hear that story about like the scorpion who asked the frog to take him across the river? Have you ever heard that story? So
no, I don't think I have.
The scorpion goes to the frog and says, "Hey, I need to get across this river, and you can swim. Will you take me across this river?" And the frog says, "No. You're gonna sting me once I get like onto the river, and then I'm gonna drown and die." And the scorpion's like, "I'm not gonna do that. Trust me. If I sting you when we're in the water, I'm gonna drown as well." And so the frog looks at him and goes, "Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense." And so while they're swimming across, and the scorpion's on the frog's back, the scorpion stings the frog, and the frog says, "Why did you sting me? Now I'm gonna drown, and you're gonna drown with me." And the scorpion's like, "I'm a scorpion. You trusted me. Like, that's in my nature. I sting people." That's the same thing we see with politicians. These career politicians who make it their life's goal to represent Americans.
Take so much away from us.
That is a good question, because the corporate interests are opposite to the American interests. What do the corporations want? They want an influx of mass immigration because they can then use cheaper labor. What do the Americans want? Less immigration so that we can get better wages. our wages have been stagnant for the last 30 years. Americans have not made money in a long time. We have crazy amount of inflation, right? Like our inflation rate. Actually, here's one thing interesting. I'm not sure if you know this, but do you know that in 1992, Bill Clinton took house inflation off of the CPI just because it's so because he wanted to basically deceive the American people into thinking that inflation was lower than it actually is. And the city that we live in now, we live in a certain city in Oklahoma. We've been watching every single house here double in price. And so housing inflation in the city that I live in has been nearly 100%. But that's not on the CPI. But what they do say is, oh, gas has gone down by 20 cents. Inflation is down. Yeah, but the house that's right next door went up 100%. But that's no longer on the inflation data because, we're only at 5% right now. Bullshit. We're not. We're probably at 20 to 30% right now just because of house inflation. And it is insane that they're not doing that. Like I've been watching so many different places. I'll throw some on the thing as well just so we can kind of see. Americans cannot afford to buy a home right now. The Wall Street Journal just released a article a couple days ago about how it's the worst time ever to buy real estate because right now we have some of the highest what is it called, mortgages. We have the highest not just inflation's up, and so because of that we have to have higher interest rates, and because of that people can no longer afford. So it's utterly insane that Americans are trying to buy homes right now because prices haven't dropped and our interest rates are through the roof. And we also have inflation and wages are stagnant. Wages have been stagnant for 3 years now and we have massive inflation.
Yeah, dude, no joke. I mean, we are in the wrong zone there.
Infinite us's.
Infinite us's. But no, seriously, no joke. It's quite, while I slowly fix this, you're basically doubling the cost of houses now with these interest rates. So like a few years ago, I know someone that was able to get a like 3% interest rate, I believe.
Yeah, is that 2 to 3? I think a person I know got a 2.5. So I can easily see them getting a 3% as well.
Yeah, here we go. So $250,000 home, if you got a 3% back in like 2017, 2018, paying $1,000 a month, right? It's not bad. So you got to make 3 to 4 times the income, single 1%. You're making $4,000 a month.
Yeah,
$4 or $5,000 a month. You could probably get this house. Now let's check this out. We go to a whole 8%. You're basically close to doubling your payment.
Dang.
With just that, and then on top of the home prices, I mean, they're not going down anytime soon.
That's only $250,000 as well. That won't buy you anything in California.
Yeah.
That won't buy you anything on the East Coast or the West Coast. It's insane how much money you're actually spending there. Was that fixed or amortized?
That's 30-year fixed.
Okay.
But I mean, then you're not even going to be able to buy the right price of home. You're going to have to downgrade because of interest rates. So it's really sickening to see. And this is just all because quantitative easing, massive government spending in the wrong areas. Government spending is just people don't understand how much it has an impact culturally and on people's like decision making. I mean, when you have liberal cities that like to fund to certain colored communities and just continue to be the hand that feeds, like it just fosters dependency, and that's basically what liberal policy's done in these big cities. We see it much more than just the race thing. We see it with homelessness, the drug problem. I mean, they literally are supplying people to do free drugs. Actually, here in the state of Oklahoma on Interstate 44, there's a gas station that has Naloxone or whatever,
Narcan,
Narcan, yeah, literally in a free vending machine in a gas station.
There we go.
I mean, is that going to make the world a better place, or
No joke.
I don't get it.
I met someone a couple days ago, and I was like, "Hey, how's it going, man?" And he was like, "It's not going too well." And it's like, "What's happening?" It's like, my brother just died of a fentanyl overdose," and that was just 2 days ago that someone told me about that, and I was like, whoa, Middle America's getting hit hard. And what are we worried about? Other countries not closing our border. Like we discussed before, the government, the one thing that they should be doing is protecting American interests, closing our border. That's the one thing that I'd give them. But instead, we're, as you said, spending money on ridiculous things. Oh, instead of fixing the problem, let's just put more Narcan dispensers out. It's not helping. That's not doing anything. That's just more wasted money on, I don't know, putting out Narcan and not solving the problem.
That's why I believe in law and order, man. You know, I think as a Christian nation, that's what our founding fathers envisioned, was to have a strict moral principle that would create strong laws. And like, I think, you know, I mean, I think it goes back in the last 50, 60 years, the destruction of the nuclear family, you know, higher divorce rates, abortions, specifically in what type of neighborhoods, Micah?
It is interesting because I believe it's 30% of abortions are done by 12 or 13% of the population. I'm not going to say which demographic that is, but yeah, I guess you guys can figure that one out for yourself.
Hopefully you guys can put two and two together.
And what was that lady's name? Is it Margaret Sanger, the
Yes.
founder of Planned Parenthood, where she said she's going to be putting in those specific minority neighborhoods for a specific reason. You guys can do your own research on that one. This one feels like a bannable type stuff, but there is. Yeah, do you remember when Kanye went out on his whole tour and everyone's like, "Hey, why are you talking about why aren't you like bowing to certain lobbies and why aren't you submitting yourself to our thing?" He's like, "There is a Holocaust of my people." Do you remember this one on the Tucker interview he had where he was like, "My people are being holocausted right now. Why am I caring about something that happened 80 years ago when millions of my people are dying right now?" And I was like, dang, I've never heard anyone say it better than that right there. Probably why they had to cancel Kanye.
Well, you can't soft kill in 2023. You can't hard kill. You have to soft kill. You know?
Exactly.
People are too in tune. We've got technology. Like, you can't just do a Holocaust anymore. So we'll just have them do it themselves. Castrate them and send them to Planned Parenthood, baby.
That is interesting. Do you think that is part of the reason why there's the trans movement or the gay movement and they're pushing it so hard for depopulation? Do you think that's kind of what it is? Or like, what do you think? Do you think there's a nefarious agenda of okay, we can't round these people up, so instead we're going to convince them that they're trans, gay, they need to get abortions. Hey, party to your 40 and you can no longer have kids anymore. Do you think there's something behind that?
I don't know. I haven't read the white papers enough to know. I'm just kidding. But like, I don't know if it's induced by globalism, but like, I do know globalism is capitalizing on it for sure. I mean, if you want a weakened society and you want to take control of a society, make them all gay and, you know, chemically castrate them. Like, it's easier to take control of these people. That's just human nature. I mean, like, you have to bring the strong man back and bring healthy masculinity back and bring that back into society, because that's what's going to get us away from a bunch of tyrannical assholes running our government.
So what if, to bring back the strong man, we imported a whole bunch of fighting men from foreign countries as refugees? Do you think that would help the problem?
As long as it's Hamas.
As long
I'm
as
just kidding.
No, we need to close the border to Hamas. I've been listening to Ben Shapiro.
I say we get some Mossad agents over here, baby.
There we go.
Yeah.
Are you sure that was it? Did we find out if Ghislaine Maxwell was a Mossad agent? Was that ever confirmed?
There's no telling.
There's no telling.
Who knows what to believe? I mean, you see so many narratives. You see just so much. I don't even know what to believe in today's day and age. So it just makes you want to, you know, have a family, live off the land, and produce the, you know, the basic necessities and the things that we were supposed to.
Yeah.
You know, and really where we're going in American culture and American society kind of segues me into this video I saw. So more on the culture side, not really political, not really news, but just some random chick complaining on the internet. I think it's very interesting to just take in to what she says. So she's complaining about a 9 to 5. Mike, how many hours a day do you work?
Including the podcast, like 14.
Yeah, like 14, 15. How many hours do you think Elon Musk works?
Oh, probably more than that. I think he said he's up to like 16 hours. Yeah, he's up to like 16 hours.
Yeah, I mean, you look at any successful person, they're working hundreds of hours a week, and they don't give a shit about work-life balance. So you can do work-life balance, but you probably won't be successful. But
My
this
question
chick,
is, what do people do in their free time? You know, like I don't know. I go home and I eat a bowl of cereal and I go to sleep. Like that's it. Like I don't know what people do in their free time.
mind-numbing, brainless content.
I guess if you watch TV, then you might need a little more than.
Football, baby.
That's true. Sundays are for football.
Yes. Let's watch a bunch of grown men in tights bring a ball past a painted line.
There we go.
I mean, the concept's great, but
Maybe I do need to take some time off. Sounds kind of fun.
anyways, let's get into this crazy chick.
Dramatic and annoying, but this is my first job, like my first 9-to-5 job after college, and I'm in person and I'm commuting in the city and it takes me fucking forever to get there. There's no way I'm gonna be able to afford living in the city right now, so that's off the table. Like fucking duh, if I was able to walk to work and it'd be fine, but I'm not. So it literally takes me, like, I leave here, like, I get on the train at 7:30 and I don't get home till like 6:15 earliest, and then like I don't have time to do anything. I want to shower, eat my dinner, and go to sleep. I don't have time or energy to cook my dinner either. Like, I don't have energy to work out. Like, that's out
Find
the
yourself
window.
a man
Like,
that's worth it.
I'm so upset. Oh my god. Nothing to do with my job at all, but just like the 9-to-5 schedule in general is crazy. Being in the office 9 to 5, like if it was remote, you get off at 5 and you're home and everything's fine. But like I'm not home. It takes me long to get home, and like people that drive to the office, like you don't get off at 5. And I know it could be worse. I know I could be working longer, but like I literally get off, it's pitch black. Like I don't have energy. How do you have friends? Like how do you have time to like meet like a guy? I don't know. Like how do you have time for like dating? Like I don't have time for anything, and I'm like so stressed out, and I'm also getting my period, so that's why I'm all emotional. But like am I so dramatic? It's
too
fine.
much.
Okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah, that's it.
I
That's
feel like
it
we've
is.
all had that conversation with
See,
Lee
I didn't
before.
see that part. I didn't see that part at all. So I think that explains it all. It's not
That
that she
kinda
works
does.
9 to 5. It's just,
Exactly.
menstrual cycle, dude.
That's kind of one of the reasons why the 19th Amendment was wrong. Get him on the wrong time of the month, and boom, we got Joe Biden in office. We ain't Obama.
But seriously, what causes this? What happened to strong feminism? What happened to the patriarchy where women stayed home and cooked, and men? I mean, the economy doesn't even call for it. You can't do that anymore. I mean, everybody has to make money now. Everybody has to work. Everyone feels like they're forced to have to go to daycare. But what's causing the breakdown in people to work 8 freaking hours? I mean, our country was founded, on just hard, solid work. And I mean, through the Industrial Revolution, prior to all this technology, like people suffered and people just seemed stronger. Like, what's making us weaker?
That is a good question. I think part of the problem is third and fourth wave feminism has told women that they have to work, and because they feel the need to work, and because they feel the need to not focus on being a mother and starting a family, they then bring down the wages of everyone else because there's more people entering the workforce. I don't necessarily believe that women were designed to work like a man. And so if a woman takes on a job like a man, I don't know if it's the best thing for them. So I can sympathize with her. I can look at it and go like, I do get it. Like, I don't think that this is something for you. Doing the office life, driving, commuting, dealing with people, dealing with all different problems of the world might not be for women.
Some women.
Some women. I do see.
Because like the Somalians here, they come here, they don't speak English, they drive nicer cars than we do, and they get a bunch of free shit from the government. And then like what they'll do is they'll go back and then they'll come back here again and then just like reapply and get more free stuff. And then they send all their money over somewhere else. That's a whole scheme in itself. Because the dollar is ultimately worth more here, so it goes longer when it goes back home. But it's really sad to see that people that aren't even like politically paying attention can kind of see that it's not really good for culture, and it's not fair. Not fair for the American people.
Yeah, it's not. And I know we've had that in the same thing from where I'm from. Is we had that with the Arab community, and from San Diego, and you'd see every single person who couldn't speak English all in Mercedes-Benz. I remember asking one of my people I was working for at the time. I was like, "How does this person support it?" And like, "Oh, this is all government money." And so and I was like, "Really?" And so I found out more and more and more stories about how it's all government money, and about how 20 people live in one house. They pool their money, and then they all send their money back. And you're like, "Whoa, that's crazy!" And they'd find loopholes, and they'd all use it. And you kind of go like, "This is insane," because they applied here as refugees, and then there's like 30 people in one house, and you can't kick them out because of certain California reasons. And you're like, oh wow, the not just the homeowner, but also the government and the taxpayers getting screwed because of mass immigration. Which, at this point, like, what do you do? How do you, like, do we just? I like Donald Trump's idea of mass deportation, biggest deportation operation in American history. I'm for that.
I am too. If you come here legally, there's got to be a process. I just have no sympathy at this point when it's become an invasion as it is. I mean, you basically have to. And, you know, big government is just killing the opportunity for people. Nobody produces anything anymore. I mean, you're going to create a welfare state so generous that it's going to create the ability for people to not produce anything to make money. And it's sickening because nothing happens until we produce. So take back our production and just, we got to do something because, man, we're screwed.
Yeah, we are. And I just want America's republic to be restored. We want our voice back. We want our Congress back. We want our new Speaker of the House to represent us. He's supposedly a conservative. Let's see. We want our president back. We want our country back. And that's one of the things that I think a lot of people in the conservative movement miss, is oftentimes I hear people say, hey, we need to lay out a different alternative vision to oppose the progressives. But really, conservatism is all about, hey, we have something good. We want to restore our republic to its former glory of virtue, principle, representation, not corporate ideologies that are forced upon the American people. We want America to be great again. And so I did see, speaking of America being great again, do you see the new news story about the mass shooting that just went down?
I did. Are there any crisis actors?
Oh boy, $3 trillion later.
Okay, we can say whatever we want. We're not Alex Jones.
That's true. I don't know. It seems I generally don't buy it until a lot later on. There's so many different weird things that go on with all these different stuff. Like Uvalde. Is anyone buying what happened there? My question is, how involved were the feds in this one? If the FBI was involved and was talking with him and gave him the guns, like, do you know the Uvalde kid where he was like supposedly the FBI bought him all brand new weapons? You're like, this is crazy. It's probably gonna be the same thing here, where you find out that the FBI basically told him where to go, bought him the guns, gave it to him, and said, "Go free." I generally don't buy any of these things. I always think the Fed's involved somehow, and they've wound up the person. We've seen so many times throughout history all the different weird trials that went on with the Feds are dosing people with LSDs, and even Ted Kaczynski, he was part of the famous project at Harvard in which they were dosing people and messing with their mind with extreme fear in order to get them to see how they would react. I think it's going to be something in the same vein. And when they say, oh, no, it's really not Trust, he's just a white supremacist who hated minorities who went on a horrible rampage.
Well, he looks to have an AR. He's white. So, you know, your leftists are going to love this. You know, they might use it for some propaganda at some point to be anti-gun. Because look, white man with AR. We need to go after the ARs because the ARs are the most dangerous threat to Americans. When they can't even see what's going on in their own backyard. What we said earlier, Kanye West, people are killing themselves. They're committing a genocide on the black people, but they're also killing themselves too in these communities with the black on black crime.
Yeah.
I mean, that is far more dangerous. Yeah, this is definitely more of a spectacle for sure because it's just random, but make the gun control make sense if you're going to provide any sort of, gun reform. It's all emotional based and it's not very logical based.
And so this is I don't know. I think that the answer to that is because Maine is a pretty liberal state. They don't have very many guns. It wouldn't happen. You go to a place that actually has a lot more weapons and guns, you're going to find that people can protect themselves and drop a active shooter. Because that's something I do fear. Let's say there's an active shooter situation and I don't have anything to defend myself. Like, for example, the state fairs that we hate. We hate state fairs. They don't let you bring in any weapons. And you remember in Texas a couple weeks ago, there's an active shooter. No one could defend themselves. No one, like, you're not allowed to bring guns in there. They confiscate everything. If someone could defend themselves, they would.
Yeah, better to have a gun when you don't need it than to not have one when you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I can't stand when I go into a business and I see like a no gun sticker with the line through it, and it's like, what does that do? That sticker is really going to intimidate somebody. Just put the sticker up and it'll solve everything. I bet they had a sticker out here at this bowling alley or wherever this happened.
Yeah.
Who knows, man?
I see.
It makes you wonder because everything I ever see, it's always on the TV. It's always digital. I don't really know. Maybe I'm just putting my tinfoil hat on, but man, if I was some sort of corrupt regime and I wanted to, control society, control people, man, problem, reaction, solution right here. We're going to create a fake problem. We've seen all kinds of questionable holes and narratives, and mostly the Las Vegas shooting. That one didn't add up at all. If you take the time to look at some of the details and the testimonies of the people that were there. Don't even want to say it, but Sandy Hook, whatever. These shootings. Uvalde, the officers that did nothing for how long? I don't remember how many minutes it was.
It was like 90 minutes, something wild like that.
Yeah, they need that team. Like, remember the trans shooter at the church, the Christian school?
Yeah.
The team that went in there executed amazing.
Was that in Tennessee?
Yeah, it was in Tennessee. I believe it was Nashville. Yeah,
Yes.
It was Nashville, that Nashville shooting. But, yeah. Who knows? I don't even know why we're covering this. I'm not really a fan of covering, like, atrocity. It's like atrocity propaganda.
Yeah. Well, our message is arm every single American with 2 ARs. And then that's how we solve that problem.
And get your promo code for
We need to get a gun promo code. I am so down to because that's one thing I actually do believe in. There's a lot of stuff that I don't necessarily believe in because I'm not selling Patriot dirt. So when we do actually get a gun promo, I'm going to be happy to I don't know, sell that because Americans should protect themselves. That is our Second Amendment. It's like saying we support free speech. Yeah. I support guns. Americans should have guns. Americans should protect themselves. We should have our rights. And so that's one thing is I think that Americans should take these lessons from active shooters and say, hey, we need to protect ourselves. The government doesn't do it because what do we see here? Did the government protect the people? No. How long did it take for the police to get there? 10 minutes? 8 minutes, does it say? It's the police's response time isn't that great. The police, what does it take them? It's what's that one saying? When seconds matter, the police are minutes away. That's completely true. The police cannot protect you from situations like this, and that's why Americans need to protect themselves every single time. And as Charlton Heston once said, "For my cold dead hand, you'll take my gun."
Well, this is crazy. The 22 dead, accordingly. This is the most, doubles the amount of homicides. It totals more than the amount of homicides in most years. A lot of people don't die in Maine, I guess. They don't have inner city Chicago or San Francisco, Philadelphia.
I wonder what the demographics of Maine is.
Micah, what are you trying to do over there?
Nothing.
Just making observations. Well, stay armed. That's all we got for you. I think that's it's really all you can do at this point. And, you know, I think what thing we can do is strive to create a better society and just create I mean, what drives someone to go shoot somebody if this did even happen?
I'm gonna just say the feds. I don't know. I don't buy the whole story of saying, "Oh, America's sick." No, I think it's Fed ops. That's my whole thing. I don't buy any of these things. I think that we need to defund the CIA. We need to defund the FBI because I am not gonna buy the fact that these is not all Fed ops that are just like